a quorum.
Councilman Mosley,
Present.
Councilman Hamilton Dean,
Present.
Councilman Eastern,
Present.
Councilman Greenwood. Present. Mayor Jackson Hicks, Mayor Jackson Hicks, Mayor Jackson Hicks. You have 4 present and 1 absent.
We have a quorum. Board presentation of minutes held from regular scheduled meeting held on Thursday, January 14, 2016, and special council meeting held on Monday, January 25th, 2016. I'd like to move with approval.
Second.
Any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Mosley,
Yes.
Councilman Hamilton Dean.
Yes.
Councilman Eastern,
Yes.
Councilman Greenwood.
Yes.
Mayor Jackson Hicks, Mayor Jackson Hicks, Mayor Jackson Hicks. You have 4 ayes and 1 absent.
Motion passes. I'd like to move for approval of the proposed agenda items with an addendum, Madam Clerk, to item 8A. I'm gonna add, you got some more businesses, so I just wanna add that to 8A. And those businesses are Urban Bat, what is it?
Urban, BAT,
Cove, Urban BAT Cove Shop. It's a barber shop that'll be located on 109 Collinsville Avenue. And Billy D's Place, that's 1515 State Street.
Billy Dean,
Billy D's.
Billy Dean. What is it? What kind of business?
It's more,
Sports bar.
Sports. Mr. Pro Tem,
Sure.
can I get a copy of that so it'd be part of,
Yeah.
whenever you finish, a copy, go with my documentation, please?
yes. So with that, I'd like to move for approval with those additions.
second.
This bill, sorry. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Motion's made by,
Uh,
motion's made by
Me, second by,
Councilman Eastern,
yes.
Councilman Mosley, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Councilman Hamilton Dean.
Yes.
Councilman Eastern.
Yes.
Councilman Greenwood.
Yes.
Mayor Jackson Hicks, Mayor Jackson Hicks, Mayor Jackson Hicks. You have 4 ayes and 1 absent.
Motion passes. 6 is, of course, the Public Works Committee. We haven't done, so we move to 7.
Item 7A, presentation of an ordinance to renew the agreement with St. Clair Service Company to provide unleaded and diesel fuel to the city of East St. Louis for fiscal year 2016. Item B, presentation of an ordinance for the mayor and city council to approve an ordinance renewing the franchise agreement between the city of East St. Louis and Charter Communications Entertainment One LLC. And item C, an ordinance to approve a professional service contract with Campbell LLC for financial management services from January 1, 2016 through June 30th, 2018. I'd like to make a motion to approve items A, B, and C.
Second.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
I have a question. Mr. East, I have a question on that.
Yes, sir.
You said, here, the cable company,
Yes, Charlie.
Charter Cable, we under a contract there for that for a year.
Is it for,
Oh,
is it for a year or is it?
no, that's for 10 years. That's actually the franchise agreement in which they actually pay the city for exclusive rights for servicing the city, the citizens of East St. Louis with their charter cable services.
Okay, thank you. That's it. That's it. Thank you, Mr. East.
Madam Clerk.
Councilman Mosley.
Yes.
Councilman Hamilton Dean.
Yes.
Councilman Eastern.
Yes.
Councilman Greenwood.
Yes.
Mayor Jackson Hicks, Mayor Jackson Hicks, Mayor Jackson Hicks. You have 4 ayes and 1 absent.
Motion passes. Are there any reports from the Finance Committee? Councilwoman Greenwood.
Item 8, reports of the Public Safety Committee. Item 8, presentation of regulatory affairs business license applications. Item 8A, those business license applications are B&L Street Customs, 8002 State Street, Meeks Bar and Grill, 514 St. Louis Avenue, Saxmo Towing and Roadside Services, 4744 Old Missouri Road, Urban BAT Code, located on, 109 Collinsville Avenue, Billy D's Place at 1515 State Street. Item 8B, presentation of an ordinance to approve the accessory building height variance for the American facility to be located at 4601 State Street in the city of East St. Louis. Item 8C, presentation of an ordinance rescinding ordinance number 15-10167, regulating alarm systems within the city of East St. Louis to correct the language to approve an ordinance regulating alarm systems within the city of East St. Louis. I would like to make a motion to approve items 8A, B, and C.
Second.
On the question?
Any questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Mosley,
Yes.
Councilman Hamilton Dean.
Yes.
Councilman Eastern.
Yes.
Councilman Greenwood,
Yes.
Mayor Jackson Hicks, Mayor Jackson Hicks, Mayor Jackson Hicks. You have 4 ayes and 1 absent.
Motion passes.
Item 9, reports of the Community Development Committee. Item 9A, presentation of a resolution for the mayor and city council of East St. Louis on a right to vote amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Item 9B, presentation of an amendment to a lease agreement with the R. Lawrence Company. Item 9C, presentation of a resolution approving the Blueprint 2016 Strategic and Comprehensive Citywide Redevelopment Master Plan Model. I would like a motion to approve item 9A, B, and D, and a motion to receive item 9C.
Second.
I make the motion.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Mosley,
Yes.
Councilman Hamilton Dean,
Yes.
Councilman Eastern,
Yes.
Councilman Greenwood,
Yes.
Mayor Jackson Hicks, Mayor Jackson Hicks, Mayor Jackson Hicks. You have 4 ayes and 1 absent.
Motion passes. Is there any old business? Any old business? New business? New business. We have a presentation from Mr. Jim Kelly on the waste to energy proposal. Good afternoon.
My name is Wayne White, and I'm an attorney from Leedsville, Louisiana.
Can't hear it.
Sorry. My name is Wayne White,
You can take that.
and I'm an attorney from Leedsville, Louisiana. Thank you. Got that? Okay. My name is Wayne White, and I'm an attorney from Leedsville, Louisiana, and I'm the chief executive officer of a corporation called IE2. We're in the business of representing a corporation called Purify Power, and we are here to discuss the possibility of opening up a waste to power plant here in St. Louis. A lot of issues around East St. Louis, Illinois. I've got with me my business development chief, Chief Kelly, and he's going to provide a brief presentation.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Works for you.
You gotta hold it close to your mouth.
Okay.
Good evening, folks.
Good evening.
It's a pleasure to be in your presence. I'm the one that gets to share with you the excitement of new industry, new opportunity, create jobs, solve environmental problems, and provide the very economic stimulus that everyone in our nation deserves. Mr. White is our President and Chief Executive Officer. IE2 is a very simple company. It's integrated energy and environment. And we go around the countryside seeking opportunities to solve these kinds of energy, waste disposal, and economic stimulus problems. And with the leadership of Mayor Jackson Hicks, who invited us to address this august group, I think you have all of the right ingredients to be successful. You have rail, you have roadways and interstate highways, and you got that wonderful creek flowing out there that gives you access to all types of opportunity. And we hope that we'll be able to attract sufficient investment capital to be able to harvest that opportunity. Next chart, please. Our technology is simple. For 4,000 years, we as a society have been putting our trash in the ground and storing it for future generations to figure out what to do with it. Madam Council, Mr. Council, I submit to you that we figured out how to solve those problems. Matter of fact, in 1930, two German scientists discovered a gasification technology whereby they could make benzene, gasoline, out of trash. And Fischer and Trosch, the two German scientists in 1930, wrote down these rules on how to do that. The company that we represent, Purify Power, is a U.S. company, corporation headquarters in Oregon. They have plants all over the continental United States and in several European countries that take trash, we refer to it as municipal solid waste, conduct robust recycling activities. We remove the metals, we remove the glass, we remove the dirt and the concrete, the ceramic and the brick, because it's far more efficient to recycle those elements into what they are to begin with. We take everything that's left and we grind it up into small particles and we put it in a pressure cooker. We call it a gasification chamber. And we gasify it. We remove all the oxygen. 2,500 tons per day per gasification chamber. We convert that waste into synthetic methane, natural gas. Now we can take that natural gas and we put it in a turbine generator and make electricity. Turbine generator is a fancy term for a jet engine that's got a generator on the other end of it. And if you've ever seen a natural gas production for electricity, same thing. Or we distill that synthetic methane using patented processes. And from that distilled synthetic methane, we create a synthetic crude oil. And we refine in a common chemistry environment that basic crude oil. We make synthetic fuel, unleaded gasoline, B100 diesel, or Jet A that these commercial airplanes running around here burn. But the really good news is no more waste for our kids and grandkids to have to contend with in the future. We're not going to put anything in the ground. 100% of all of the municipal solid waste is repurposed and used to create these synthetic fuels. And the best part about it, Mr. and Ms. Council members, we're not asking for any of your tax dollars. We know how precious those are. We're not asking for any special favors, any kind of incentives. We're bringing the economic stimulus, and we'll pay our own way. We'll lease the land from you, in your industrial development park or from private concerns, whatever the case may be. That's what Mr. White's company does. That's what we do. We do that due diligence and we put that package together. We're going to stabilize waste disposal costs for the governor of Illinois in Region 6, which is the eastern Illinois region where your city is part of it. There are 8,049 tons of waste per day being put in the ground just in Region 6. Just in Region 6. And Mayor Pro Tem, we're proposing a 10,000 ton per day plant for East St. Louis. And in a moment, I'm going to share with you why we think 10,000 tons per day work the best. We're going to stabilize your tip fees, what it costs to dispose of your waste for 20 years. That's the contract that we will sign with your government to demonstrate our processes are stable so that we can guarantee the price of waste disposal for 20 years, minimum, as well as the jobs that go with that. Next chart, please. Maybe a little bit hard to see. It's kind of an eye test for those of you in the back of the room. This is right out of the governor's report for 2014 of all of the solid waste in Illinois. And down there in the bottom left hand is the East Illinois Region 6 that I was referring to, and the 8,049 tons. Next chart, please. 10,000 tons is what we propose for your community. Those 10,000 tons per day, we believe, either from Region 6 and other regions within the area of commute, or we can bring it down the river in barges to be able to process that waste. 500 to 600 permanent jobs are associated with this plant, this 10,000 ton per day plant. Those are the jobs that will work in that plant 24/7, or 31 is the new number. But we're going to work around the clock processing this municipal solid waste. And these are blue collar and white collar jobs. These are skill sets that you already have in your community. These are pipe fitters, boiler makers, welders, heavy equipment operators. They're also mechanical engineers, software engineers, chemists on the white collar side. But these are the kinds of jobs that every community needs. Average salary, well, just hit that button again, sir. Average salary is $33 million per year economic stimulus to your community. And these people will not only pay sales taxes and live in your community, but they'll go to your schools, they'll contribute, they'll be part of the robustness that we hope to be a stimulus to become a part of here in your community to bring these jobs. We're going to make 600 megawatts of green electricity. What's important about green electricity? Well, you can make it with the sun. You know about solar energy. You can make it with wind energy. You make it with geothermal, or you can make it with gasification. That's what we do, gasification. 600 megawatts, I don't now know what the total load factor is. I'm learning. It's part of the discovery of due diligence. It'd be available. How would you like to know what your electric bill is going to be 15, 20 years from now? Stabilized processing. Our gasification technology is solid enough science, demonstrated. We're 100% insured in all of our plant operations. The next number, 600,000 gallons of synthetic fuel each and every day. That's 200,000 gallons of unleaded gasoline. That's 200,000 gallons of B100 diesel. Did I mention that the diesel doesn't have any sulfur in it? That means when it burns in the trucks and the trains that run up and down the road here now, that there's not as much foo-foo coming out the stack. There's no sulfur. There's nothing that would interfere with the environment in this cleaner fuel. And then that jet fuel, well, that's kerosene with some additives. But it too at 200,000 gallons a day. 20 years stabilized pricing. One of the things that we'll offer your government, and again, it's offer, you don't have to participate, but we'll wholesale all of that fuel to you or to your companies. I know you had on one of your agenda items earlier, sir, a fuel requirement for the government. We'll stabilize those fuel prices through the vendors, the local companies that handle those fuels. We'll wholesale that, stabilize that cost for 20 years. Why? Our gasification processes are that stable. We're not impugned by the constant ebb and flow of brown power, of fossil fuels. It doesn't affect us. The synthetic fuels that we generate are less harmful to the environment, particularly the air that we breathe. That final number, that's the big number. 1.4 billion. That's how much money our company is going to borrow, and we borrow it every day. That's the money that we're going to borrow to build this 10,000 ton per day processing plant, to create these jobs, to provide that economic stimulus. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not our first rodeo. We've done these things many times over. We understand how to accomplish these types of projects. And I say with the utmost of confidence to your council representatives, reinforcing once again, we're 100% insured in everything that we do. Why? Those people are going to loan us $1.4 billion. They want to make sure that we understand what we're doing. And they require that we have 100% insurance on all of our processes, which we do. We're covered by 58 national and international patents. Purify Incorporated, the scientists that backed up this technology, these are patented processes. I would welcome all companies that have the capability of offering exactly what we're offering. We want to become the benchmark. 2 weeks ago, we were in your state headquarters. Is that Illinois?
Springfield.
In Springfield, Illinois, and we met with the environmental staff in the governor's office. By invitation, we fully comply with every aspect of the law for the Clean Air Act, for the Clean Water Act. 100% compliance. I'm not even proposing to you that we bring an industry in here that's going to compromise anything where you and your constituents live. 100% in compliance. Last chart. Always refer to the bottom line up front. These are the things that we're going to do. And the most important is, here's what we require from the taxpayers. We need a 20-year contract for the trash. You gotta put it somewhere. What I'm advocating to you is, let's not put it in the ground anymore. Let's process it. Let's make useful things out of it. If you don't buy a single kilowatt of electricity from this company, that's okay. We'll sell it someplace else and pay back that investment. We're going to bring 1.4 billion opportunities to this community in the form of capital investment to build this new technology plant. Number two, we're going to stabilize those disposal costs. The things that you now have to pay when they pick the trash up from the curb and it goes to the landfills. The sad part is, it's a storage system. It's not really a disposal capability. Because 50 years from now, it's still going to be out there in that landfill. Our processes remove 100% of the municipal solid waste. We repurpose it at the molecular level. We make other useful things out of it. And that's the beauty of the science. And it's really not all that new because, like I said earlier, it's been around since the 1930s. It's just we finally have good old American ingenuity figured out how to make this work to allow us to process the kind of quantities necessary. I'll stay around as long as necessary to answer any questions, Mr. Easter. Subject to your questions to the council.
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Has there been any EPA studies in the last, I guess, 9 years to see if the plant has caused any harmful health concerns to the citizens that you have the plants?
Yes, ma'am. Constant interface. Right now, we focused all of our marketing efforts on those states that have deregulated power. In other words, anyone that produces electricity can sell electricity, and that's where we've gone. And also where there's a predominance of coal-fired power generation. In the state of Texas, for example, a very large power market, we pretty much, our relationship with the federal EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, is such that their confidence in our gasification technology allows us, I'm not going to say a rubber stamp, but a fairly smooth process for the application of operating permits in compliance with Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act requirements. And it's a constant observation of the environmental impacts. We're in a 100% enclosed environmental system. We wrap our plant entirely in a metal building.
But can you provide those results of the studies that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Absolutely.
Of the other plants that you have, which one will be comparable to the plant that you're talking about building in East St. Louis, of the other sites?
We currently have 2 plants under design in the state of Virginia, one in the Jamestown region, and one in the Cleveland, West Virginia. Western portion of the state of Virginia. Both of these plants are 25,000 tons each. The Jamestown plant is dedicated to municipal solid waste, and the Cleveland plant is dedicated to mitigating coal fines.
So do you have any that are currently up and operational?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Will any one of those plants that are operational, will they be comparable to what you're building in East St. Louis, or what you're proposing to build in East St. Louis? As far as size, revenue, is what I'm really asking.
Size would be the only variant,
Okay.
simply because we haven't concluded the municipal solid waste characterization analysis for your community. But yes, ma'am, there are plants that 2,000 tons and greater currently operational in the continental United States using this gasification technology.
I don't know if you said or not, but how much revenue do you expect to bring to East St. Louis if this plant is built here annually?
A minimum on salaries of $33 million.
Outside of salaries?
I haven't progressed to look at your tax structure yet to determine how we can enhance your sales tax based on the direct jobs and the secondary jobs that would come as a result of the plant's presence, nor do I know what the cost of leasing the land for 20 years. That would also provide economic stimulus. And then any support contracts that the company would enter into, particularly in the arena of material recovery and recycling, because those are all subcontract opportunities. Then there are haul contracts, hauling the waste, hauling the products, whether they're on the river or on the rail. All of those secondary contracts have yet to be defined. But there would be additional economic stimulus to the community as a result of those activities, ma'am.
And my last question, will there be any quotas for East St. Louis residents or any priority given to those who are applying for jobs with your company?
Great.
Yes, ma'am. As far as, I will tell you that Purify's policy in the past has been, they will integrate directly with human resources that are available either from the council or from the mayor's office, all the way down through the ranks of unemployment to assist those in the greatest need first. There are cooperative educational opportunities for training and certification of certain skill sets, both blue collar and white collar, to assist local community participants to be eligible for those jobs.
Exactly what I'm looking at here.
Yes, ma'am.
Internships, that kind of stuff is what I'm looking at.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Every field.
In every field, yes, ma'am, that's correct. Even to the point of, with local academia, for undergraduate degree programs, either through community colleges or even, 4-year accredited undergraduate degrees for plant operations, because it is a somewhat of a unique skill set to become plant management, part of that core competency as well. But it is the intention of our client, Purified, to hire local, to optimize the economic stimulus as much as possible. It's just good business.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any other questions from council? Madam Clerk?
I have a question. Have you looked at, what site in East St. Louis are you looking for? Where's the land that you're trying to acquire?
I would tell you that we've looked in the industrial park. We went there again today and reviewed the opportunities, and it seems very attractive that we could leverage the area that you've already zoned, set aside for development in the industrial park, ma'am. Sir?
I guess my question is, I heard you talk about, the 20-year contract. Is that in reference to, waste collection, or is that something separate? Or would that be inclusive of what you guys would actually be asking for in your 20-year contract?
Well, does not include collection,
Okay.
nor does that include any recycling that is currently established in the city. We merely wish to tier off of that.
Okay.
Imagine the waste transfer station, sir, where all of the recycling material recovery events take place. And in that last packaging of the MSW, the municipal solid waste, before it goes to the landfill, we become the landfill. So instead of taking it for storage in that landfill, it would come to our plant, and then we would repurpose it and process it.
That answers my question.
Yes, sir.
Can you expand?
Who would negotiate the transfer of
Wait
the
a
ownership?
minute. Joe, are
Sorry.
there any other questions from council? Clerk? So,
Sir.
Who would negotiate the ownership of the present trash stream from Waste Management to your plant?
Jim, I think the contract with Waste Management is over. And it's on a,
Well, does Waste Management currently manage your landfill disposal, sir? Is that what you're saying?
he can answer.
Collection, I don't know.
No, collection is not, we're not interested in interfering with any of your collection services. It just, be
How
happy
do you
to.
access the trash?
Sir?
How are you going to access it?
From the waste transfer station, that last step in current disposal process is once the waste is characterized at a waste transfer station, taken from the smaller collection vehicles, put on the larger transport vessels, and taken to the landfill, we become the landfill. Our plant becomes the landfill. So everything up to the waste transfer station remains as is. From the waste transfer station to what used to be the landfill is where we would intercede and bring the waste to us, sir.
Well, I don't know what contract with Waste Management. I don't know whether the city has a contract with Waste Management. I don't know.
That's part of our discovery, sir, in the due diligence phase as we put the project scope together, is to be able to ascertain what those impacts are. It's gonna take us 12 to 18 months to build, design and build the plant. So all of those considerations we'll work through with the council's approval to do the discovery in order to be able to lay out a detailed execution phased plan that meets all of the needs of the community, sir.
Citizen comments, Ms. Dorothy Joshua.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm sorry I was running late, so I left my notes at home, so I'm gonna have to wing it. But, I have two concerns, tonight. One is, the regulating the alarm system, and the other is trash service. The council, passed an ordinance to attach the trash service to the occupancy permits and rescind them if the trash bill is not paid. My concern is that that will not, I need more information as to how that will solve the problem, because for that to work, you would have to know, every homeowner, everybody that, all the rentals in the city of East St. Louis. And the only way it seemed like you all know the rentals of East St. Louis is through the sewer service, because, that collection seems to be going pretty well. But, so I would like to know more about how you all, what kind of comprehensive plan that you all have for ensuring that all the, trash service will be picked up from this ordinance that you all just created. Because on my street, there's numerous people on my street without trash. And they have started piling up trash at this house. And I had the pictures, but I was running late, so I left the pictures, so I have to get them to you all at another time. Had the pictures to show you the pile of trash that's piling up at 735, I think it is, on 79th Street. So I would like to know more about that comprehensive plan that you have, and then about regulating the alarm system. Now, I was against you all regulating the alarm system when the ex-mayor initiated that, because he was charging all the citizens $50. Instead of grandfathering the ones in, because my alarm service had been in effect for 15 years. In the city of East St. Louis, you have a choice. You have a choice to have alarm service, or you have a choice to have bars around your house. I refused to put bars around my house for the safety in case of a fire, which I had an alarm system. But when he came out and created that $50 that you all approved, then my alarm company notified me, and I told them I would not pay that $50 fee. So they cut my service off. A month later, my house was broken into as if somebody within the city knew that my service I no longer had, because I've been there 30 years and I've been having alarm service for 20, and I never had a problem until I had my services disconnected, and then that's when all the break-ins started happening. So that forces you to either have bars or alarms, and so I need to know more about how the regulating, what type of system that you have, that you all are generating now to regulate the alarm system. You rescinded, is it still the $50? Because when they charged $50, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't even come out, they were charging the $50 for an inspection, but they didn't come out and inspect nobody's house or anything, and wasn't nothing done. The city just collected $50 from every person that had an alarm system in the city. And so I would like to know, with you all rescinding it and doing whatever you all doing with it again, are you all gonna grandfather the people in that have alarm systems, or how is that gonna work with the city of East St. Louis? And lastly, the reason I'm down here complaining so much is because I'm a product of East St. Louis. I've worked in East St. Louis. I started at District 189. I worked when the city had a planning department on 10th Street. I worked at the Murphy Building under Mason. I worked at City Hall under Carl. I worked in regulatory affairs, which we used to call building and ground. And it's not that hard to do the jobs that's supposed to be done for the city. It's not that hard. I worked in purchasing department. I worked in the city clerk's office. I worked in the treasurer's office. So, for you all not to get it together, and for you all not to be able to manage and to control the trash and to control the stuff around here, I don't understand. When I worked in the building department, it was me and Mr. Bellman. It was just two people and an electrical inspector and a building inspector. And that's when the occupancy permits first came out, so the lines was almost out to the door and stuff. And we were able to manage that. And y'all can't manage the little stuff that's going on here with half of the decline. The city of East St. Louis had 32,000 people in the at the census in the 2000. 2010 they had lost over 5,000. So we're losing 500, at least 500 citizens a year and stuff. So the next census is coming up in 2015. And, no, this is 2016, 2020. And by that time, we'll be down to 21. So will we be a village, or what we will be, or what we need to do? Y'all need to start thinking about that when y'all start bringing stuff in. But my main concern tonight, I thought I'd add that in because that was part of my notes that I remembered. But I need to know more about the regulating the alarm system and how you all gonna manage the trash that's piling up throughout the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lily Butler, please.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'm here for two reasons. One is to find out if you ever put our area back in the budget. And here the streets, we have the streets fixed. It was in the budget, the mayor had put it in the budget, and then when the new city manager came, he took it out, and I wanted to know was it back? Because she was saying that our streets were gonna be priority, and they were gonna do it. So I wanted to know about that. The other thing I wanted to know about is the water system. I've been looking at the TV about Flint. And I remember in 1999, every morning I get up in my yard be full of water. Can y'all hear me now? Okay, every morning I get up in my yard was full of water, so I call the water company, and they come and pump it out the water meter thing out there. So they kept on, they sent people out to inspect the water and test the water, and they tested it in my basement, I was going in there too. And so then they said, well, they fixed it. They fixed a little patch in front of my house. They put a plastic casting in there for the water meter to fit in, and they put plastic pipes from the street to the easement to my house. And so then they said, then the people across the street, since they had big heavy equipment in my yard, it's kind of loosened up the pipe. So the other pipe was rusted across the street. So they put a little patch right there and dug in and put the new meter casing in there and everything. Then the lady next door and loosened her pipes and plus her gas pipe. And everybody started smelling gas, so they dug that up, put her new meter casing in there, put a new pipe to her house.
I have a question. Who is the they?
Water company, American Water Company.
Okay.
They came out. And so they said that, so I asked the man, the supervisor, I said, well, how come you just doing one little house at a time? He said, in East St. Louis, we only did that. He said, in Belleville and Fairview Heights, they did that all at one time. But he said they only do East St. Louis only when it's necessary, when you have a break in the line or something. So he said that, he gave, I said, well, could you send me that in writing? He sent me that in writing, the whole big packet. It was telling him how to drink the water and don't use water out the house.
He said something, I'm sorry, he said something to you in writing stating that in East St. Louis is treated one way and surrounding cities are treated another way.
They already been treated 20 years ago.
And he said that in writing.
Mm-hmm.
Would you mind providing a copy of that to the
Well, I
city?
don't have it now.
Okay.
I did give it to the mayor, who was Deborah Powell at the time. And I gave it to people in my neighborhood. Maybe somebody still have a copy. Because I had printed myself, I printed 50 copies. And it was expensive, and I passed by my neighborhood and told them to tell their neighbor. And then I gave it to the court officer when he was the mayor, one of the packets. So I don't know what happened to it. I
Okay,
really don't
so
know.
you're gonna have to fast forward me to the issue right
But
now.
I was just saying that, I was looking at the Flint, and I was wondering, are we gonna have lead in our water? Because there's a lot of lead in our water, because a lot of people in my area, they are suffering from, the kids are just suffering from the lead. And one little boy, he had 18% lead level, and one had 25, and this little girl, she had like 15 lead level in her.
And they believe that, has there been a study done in your neighborhood to determine if it is coming from the water, or has there any study been done at all?
I don't know, because I
Who
just
tested
told
the
them.
kids? Well, how did the kids get tested? What?
They went and tested at the Eastside Health District,
Okay.
because they was coming out abnormal. And they got tested at East Side Level District, and that's when the lady told me to come over there, and she showed me the papers, but they moved to Charleston, Illinois. So when they was running around passing out flyers for us to have our ground tested
Okay.
for, who was that, I think it was the EPA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the EPA has not been there, and how long has that been?
Well, I don't know whether they've been in this neighborhood, but they have not been mine.
Okay.
But they had fixed mine. I mean, I still got I changed most of my pipe, only the pipe from the meter to my house. But in the inside, I got, the, CP, whatever it is. I have the plastic pipe in my house.
So we need to have the city manager possibly look into this to see, to determine if there needs to be a study done in your neighborhood.
I'm right,
Okay. All
Ms.
right.
Ms. Mr. Wanda Carroll.
I'm sorry.
Councilman, just to dovetail on that, US EPA has been monitoring blood lead levels in conjunction with Eastside Health District for 20 years. And they have a large database, and it's driven not only by environmental factors, but also by the interior paint on our older housing stock. So what I would recommend you do is talk to Eastside Health District, because they communicate regularly with US EPA, and they do monitor blood lead levels. So that would be a good place for additional information for the city manager to start with.
Oh, thank you.
Ms. Carroll.
Okay, so I own a tire shop in St. Louis, and I went to renew my business license and realized that they have upped the fee. Like, if we run small businesses and we cannot afford the new fee, it went tremendously, triple times. We already have to pay for the disposal of the tires. Nobody helps us pay that, you know, we're not getting rich. So I'm just trying to see if it's a possibility that some kind of way they can look into why is the business license so high.
When did we renew those, business? When did we change that fee? Do you remember, Madam Clerk,
Did it last year?
last year?
Yes, sir.
What were they before and what are they now?
They went from $175 to $1,500. What?
That's good.
For tires.
Tires.
Tire disposal.
They're not disposing of any tires. We pay $2.75 per tire to dispose of them. Every month, and I've been tested by EPA, they came out, they made sure I was on my tires properly, they look at all my receipts. Our receipts have to make us, you have to pay a state tire fee on top of the fact that the disposal, so we pay another $2.50 per tire we sold in Illinois.
Was notification mailed out?
No, I came in to renew my license, and they told me that the fee was $1,500.
We didn't have any public hearing?
Right. You had a
Yeah, I think
You did have a- you did
if
have a
I'm-
public hearing.
If I'm not mistaken, I think the increase was for, the tire shops and people who actually were selling those tires. Are you the, company that actually transport tires?
No, I don't. I
Okay.
sell new and used tires out of my location. A transportation company comes and pick up our tires.
Okay. I think that's probably,
When was the public hearing held?
it was sometime last year, I think it was around.
And notification was mailed out.
Or was it? Was it to the door by time?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, we identify.
Right.
And I was, and the EPA came out and I passed mine with no problem. Got my receipt, my state tire fee back.
Opposite, this one was passed.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Easton.
Yes.
The best thing you can do is to pull your list on your fees that were increased and go back and you can make an amendment for the Lord for the next session or whatever, and putting in the stipulations for things like her where she's now transporting and somebody's picking it up. It may be an oversight, you know, when they was trying to increase the fees, it didn't take everything into consideration.
Yes.
So you can always go back and amend.
Yes.
Good. We're gonna take you, we're gonna do something there.
Thank you, Mr.
Reverend Michael Scruggs. this time I'd like to move for adjournment. Second. Madam Clerk.